Hey guys, this tournament.
Oh God, we're back.
We're back to square one. All right. Has been a while. Hey guys. This video is going to be about the Lake Guntersville Bassmaster Elite Series, a recap of my practice in my tournament, which feels like it was forever ago. But I'm going to run through practice real quick and then go through all 4 days of the tournament, because fortunately we were able to finish 4th in this one. Had a chance to win, but wasn't able to finish it off, but it is what it is. So let's get right to it. In the Bassmaster Elite Series, we get basically 2 and 3/4 days of practice. First day of practice, I believe it was kind of raining, kind of spitting rain and stuff, real nasty. Totally different conditions that was going to be in the tournament going by the forecast. So I kind of wasn't really going to base my tournament off of day 1 of practice, but I just kind of ran around and tried to figure out what stage the fish were in. Actually, the fish seemed to have bit better the first day of practice than they did the whole tournament for everybody, I think, just with that weather. I think I got just get a bunch of random bites, some random buzzbait bites. I think if I had to get, looking back, I think I may have only had 5 or 6 bites the whole day of practice. Didn't really catch any big ones, and then, like I said, it was just random here and there, just some junk fishing stuff. Second day of practice, I locked a frog in my hand, just because Guntersville's, legendary for the frog bite. So I think I threw a frog the second day of practice for, I don't know, I think I threw it for like 6 straight hours. And I think I only got, I don't even remember, 2 or 3 bites, not very many. I mean, nothing, again, it wasn't very, this place has got some bites, that place has got some bites. It was a bite here, and then 2 hours later you get a bite 10 miles down the lake. But that second day of practice, like I said, I threw the frog for 6 hours, 7 hours, and then I went and flipped for, I think, 1.5 hours right at the end of the day, and I got 1 flipping bite the second day of practice. And it just, like, I saw, it was a different situation, different mat that I got the bite in than I had found anywhere else. So going into day 3 of practice, once again, I went and threw a frog for 3 or 4 hours. Never had a bite. I think I may have had 1 little blow up, nothing good at all. Was actually on the lower end of the lake, took out, came back up to Goose Pond, put in for the last, couple hours of practice. I think the last 1.5 hours of practice, I got 2 bites, flipping. So I said, I've only done this in practice for a total of maybe 4 hours, and I've gotten 3 bites. So my thought process was, if I just go do this all day, spend a lot of hours doing it, maybe I can, if you're averaging it out, you got 3 bites in 4 hours. That's a lot better average than I've been doing anything else. So rolling into day 1 of the tournament, I was already kind of a little bit nervous because I don't have a very good track record on Guntersville. I think I may have only cut 1 check on Guntersville, if I've ever cut any at all in any kind of tournament. And then you add a live camera in the boat, and it's just a lot of stuff going through your head. You want to catch them, you want to, show off stuff on Bass Live to promote your sponsors and all that stuff. So I got all that going through my head, and I just kind of, like I said, I'm going to go put my head down, and I'm going to start where I got the 1 bite the second day, because there was a good bit more stuff that looked the same as where I got the 1 bite, but I never got any more bites that second day. And then I said, well, I'll just fish there, and then I'll move on to where I got the 2 bites the last day of practice, and then just kind of wing it the rest of the tournament. Run up to where I got that 1 bite, fished for, I don't know, probably 1.5 hours and never had a bite. Fished all the way down the stretch that I thought looked the best, turned around and fished back down it. And I got to the very end of it the second time, actually where I started, and I caught like a 3-pounder. And it just, the weather had changed completely from that morning. Like it had been cold and cloudy, and the sun had come out, and everything the mat started popping in that. So just something in my gut told me to just turn around and go back down it again. And I happened to I think in 20 minutes, I think I caught a limit. It wasn't a really big one. It had like 10 or 11 pounds. Left there at like 11 or 12 o'clock, ran down to where I got the 2 bites the last day of practice, caught one that called, caught another one that called, caught another one that called. And then I kind of left it, and I ran some what I call main river stuff, which was the mats that were on the main river channel side. And I think the last hour of that first day, I think I ended up catching like 8 or 10 fish. They didn't help me, but they were all in that 2.5 pound range that, you know, I mean, I thought I could, if I got in a bind, I could go catch a limit and still cut a check. You know how all that goes. Ended up with 14 and some change on the first day. Was in 21st. I really thought I'd be around that 25th to 30th place because I knew it was fishing kind of tough, but they live in Guntersville. So, I mean, you have to let all that play. You kind of needed the big bite, which I didn't get that first day, so I knew I'd be above average, but kind of middle of the pack. Going into day 2, I was just going fishing. I didn't have a Marshall. I didn't have a camera in my boat. I said, I'm just going to go up there and start where I started the first day, where I started the first day. I get down through there, and about the second mat I come to, I pitch in there, goes down, it boom. I set the hook, my line breaks. I'm like, well, that's just great. That's about how my year's gone. Get everything re-rigged back up, go on down a little bit, catch a 3-pounder, go down like 5 flips more, catch another 3-pounder. It's going pretty good. Turn around, get to the end of my little stretch, turn around, come back, get right to where I caught the first 3-pounder, catch like a 3 3/4, which is close to a 4-pounder. It's going really good. I go on down. I think at this point, I think when I caught the third one, I had like 10 pounds, 10 and a half. And I knew, I had in my mind the cut weight, and I knew I was probably going to be close. So it kind of settled me down a little bit. Fished all the way through the rest of the stretch, didn't get any bites. And just had a gut feeling. I was like, I'm going to go flip a few docks. Like there was a couple of docks right down from where I was fishing in a little creek. So I run down there and I go to start fishing these docks, and the wind has shifted directions. And if you're any familiar with Guntersville, it blows eelgrass whichever way the wind's blowing, just chopped up stuff, and you can't really flip or do anything. It kind of washes your stuff out. Well, all these docks that I had saw that I wanted to fish had eelgrass all over them. Well, I'm like flying in between both of them, and I pick up a buzzbait and just throw it down the edge of this blown up eelgrass that's like 20 foot off the bank. I get it about halfway to the boat, and like a 4.5 pounder eats it, like just swallows it. I'm fighting, and I get it in the boat, and I'm like, I got 4 that weigh like 15 pounds. So, I'm for sure gonna fish now. I've calmed down completely. I fished the rest through there, never get another bite. Pick my trolling motor up, and I'm running, and I'm gonna stop where I fished the second day, the second stop where I got the 2 bites the last day of practice. And I think there's like 3 or 4 boats on it, 3 or 4 of our guys on it. So I just run all the way back to where I started, straight to where I caught the 2 3-pounder, or the 2 3-pounders and the 3 3/4. It's like the same mat, and I'll roll up there and make like 3 pitches and catch another 3-pounder. So now I got whatever I end up having for the day, 18 something, and it's like 12 o'clock. So I go practice, and I run some more. I go back out to the main channel because I wanted to like explore that a little bit more. And that next day for day 3, there was so many boats coming in and out of those mats, throwing the frog up in those, like on the main riverside. I never got many bites. Like I kind of ruled all that out after day 2 that evening, which made me like dial into the other side of the mat where I ended up spending the rest of the tournament. Going into day 3, or weighed in 18:10, I think, on day 2. Jumped up to second, was behind Cobb, which is pretty cool because me and him are Art Rod's teammates. Going out day 2, got a camera boat. I don't really have anywhere else to start, so I'm going to go start again where I've been starting the other 2 days. The day 3 it got rolling pretty quick. I mean, it was within 30 minutes. I think I had 2 or 3 good ones. And I wasn't catching really big ones. I was just catching some quality, and I'd get a 3.5 to 4-pounder every now and then. I think I had 13 or 14 pounds by 10 o'clock. I run around. I go throw a frog on a few places where I got about just to check it because I hadn't checked it the whole tournament. It wasn't happening. There was local boats all over it, so I ruled all that out. Ran over to where I got the 2 bites the last day of practice. I literally caught most of my fish on 2 stretches. Once I figured out that I didn't need to be on the main channel side. Like that's where I spent all my time, and just knew if I could get a bite, it was gonna be a good one. I run down to the other stretch, I'm flipping. I flipped like an hour and hadn't had a bite. I pitch over, my line's sinking, and the line jumps, but it keeps falling. Like I hit something when the weight was going down. My mind didn't process that it might have been a bite, because most of the time when I'd flip in there, my line would sink and it would bounce and it would stop. So the fish had caught it on the way down. Like I said, I pitched in there and it jumped and it just kept sinking like it was still falling. I didn't even think none of it. I clicked my reel and I picked up the lines like almost under the boat. And I set the hook, and if you'll see it on the video, you saw it on Bassmaster Live, all this, I thought it was like a 5-pounder when it happened, like real time when it come off. And when I went back and looked at it, Bass slowed it down on the TV show on ESPN and all this, it was probably more like a 6 or a 7, just Just being completely honest, I'm not trying to big eye it, but just from what I could see how wide the fish was and just the girth of it. And obviously it comes off. You know, I have a little bit of a meltdown because I knew if I could have caught that fish, it would have given me 18 to 19 what I'd had the second day. And I mean, that would have, I knew it would have put me way up there and had a really good shot to win. I mean, this is like right at the end of the day. I run back down and I see this one stretch that kind of looked good, but I hadn't fished it yet. I rolled in there and there's, I don't know, I got 10 minutes left to fish and I'm fishing kind of fast. I pitch over there and I pick it up and he's pulling down with us. I catch like a 4.5, 5 pounder, 4 3/4, I think is what it weighed. Boat flip it, it makes you feel a little bit better, but you still in the back of your mind, you're like, man, what could have been? Go in, we have 16 something. I think we're leading by a pound. So now I'm sitting here, I'm leading Bassmaster Elite Series tournament, and I got a shot to win my rookie season. Didn't really think much about it. I thought about it, but I wasn't really nervous because I knew what I was going to do. I knew where I was going to do it, and whatever happened. That was the main thing that made me feel a little bit calm, as I didn't have anything pulling me anywhere doing this. I knew if it was meant to be, I was going to catch them in that stretch and that stretch flipping. That's how it was going to go down. That's what my confidence was in. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how day 4 started because I remember I had a little bit of local help. I rolled up there, and actually I forgot about this on day 3. Some schooling fish come up behind me on day 3. Because I remember this, I remember because I picked up an ARC topwater blower bait. It's just in a clear color because I'd caught them up at Guntersville a couple years ago in a little tournament. They were schooling, but you can only catch them on a clear walking bait. And I ended up catching 3 or 4 quick. They were just small keepers that on day 3. I forgot all about that until now. But I knew them fish were going to keep doing that in the mornings. Well, I roll up there and I'm pitching in my mats, working my way up to where these fish were schooling out behind me. And it's real foggy, and there's 2 local boats sitting there. One of them's got 2 guys in it, and the other boat's got 3 guys in it. So right off the bat, I knew where I thought you could just catch some limit fish was out the window. Fished a little bit further. I kind of tried to expand my area that day 4 because that little stretch had been getting beat on pretty hard by me and a couple other anglers. I went to expand, didn't do any good. Came back. I think I caught 1 keeper. Didn't really, it was a keeper. Fished and fished and fished. I can already tell it's starting to get tough. I run to the main river stuff. That's not doing any good. Run down to where I'd lost the real big one. I think I actually got a bite there, and I just pitched in there and it thumped it real hard, and it just I missed it. It never got it. I don't know. I do remember that because it wasn't 10 or 15 yards from where I'd lost the real big fish. Fished up through there, caught a short, caught another short. So I'm sitting there with 2, and it's 12 o'clock. And looking back at it now, going to watch the show, Frank's 10 miles up the river, freaking crushing them on a chatterbait. So, you don't know that during the tournament, so you're just trying to grind and get every bite you can. Like I said, it's 12 o'clock. We run up to where I'd fished the whole time, where I'd been starting. I think I fished another 10 or 15 minutes, caught a 3 pounder, about like I'd been doing the same place, one of the same mats I'd been getting bit out of. Roll up there, because I knew there was a few fish there left, you could just hit them when they were biting. I rolled up there the second mat, caught a keeper, going down, catch another one, so now I've got 4. Going down a little bit, the one mat that's been the best to me the whole week, and seriously guys, this mat's 20 yards long and 10 yards wide. There's nothing to it. It's not this gigantic mat with 100 fish on it. There's just something about this little stretch that keeps fish rotating and coming up in there, even though I catch 1 or 2 every day. It's just something was under that mat that was different than the few that were around it. Roll up to it, pitch in there, set the hook, and it's got a big mouth. I think it's a big one, on camera and whatever. I was dang, it's a big one, but then it's really skinny. So it's a 4 pounder. It should have been a 4 pounder, weighs 2 3/4. That ends up being the last bite I got of the day, last bite I got of the tournament. So truthfully, I only caught 5 keepers that last day. I think we ended up with 11-14 or 11-15, and we needed 13 pounds, I think, or 14 maybe. All in all, I'm happy with the finish. tickled to death that Frank won. I mean, me and Frank are really good buddies. He deserves it. I mean, it was just his time to win. I know if I would have caught the fish that come off, I would have won, but I mean, things happen for a reason. That's the reason. That's the only fish I lost all week. So I mean, you can't really complain flipping only to lose one. It just happened to be a really, really big one. But give you a little breakdown of the rod, the reel, the baits. Ironically, was using a Tharp Series Guntersville Special. It's a flipping stick he designed. It's a 711 heavy. He also makes a 711 extra heavy, which is an Okeechobee Special is the name of it. But it's a little bit too stiff for me, just flipping hydrilla or flipping real sparse mats per se, not really like thick hyacinths or stuff like that where you got to like really lean on them. So the Guntersville Special is good for that. Lew's Pro TI reel, I mean, I use those reels all year. I was flipping with 60-pound SX1 Sunline braid, just the dark green color. I used a different variety of flipping baits. I got a few bites on a Zoom Z-Crawl Jr., and then most of the other bites were coming on just a beaver style bait. I always use a black and blue color when I'm flipping mats, like always 100% of the time. And it may burn me a little bit, but I just feel like it's, like I said, it's dark under those mats. You want something that just stands out. And like I said, I use the black and blue with some flash. Like I like the blue to have some flash in it. Feels like it might get a few more reaction bites. Let's see, 1.5 ounces. I was using 1.5 ounce arc tungsten weight. 4/0 straight shank flipping hook. I always use a 4/0 most of the time. On the Zoom Z-Crawl Jr., I was using a 3/0 because it's a little bit smaller bait. The buzz bait that I caught the random 4 3/4 pounder on that probably made my tournament was a Dirty Jigs Scott Canterbury Signature Series buzz bait, a 1/4 ounce with a black blade and a white Zoom Z-Crawl Jr. Schooling fish that I caught on day 3 were on the top water blower bait from Art in the clear color. I don't know the name of the color, but it's the only clear one we have. Both my top water baits were on a 7.3 medium heavy reinforcer, Lew's Pro TI, and 40-pound SX1, or it may have been 50-pound SX1 braid. I mean, I used 3 rods basically the whole tournament, but mainly the flipping stick. I mean, that's I put my head down, and that's what I wanted to do. We almost pulled it off, and like I said, again, congratulations to Mr. Frank. I'm really happy for him, and looking forward to the next one. Again, guys, appreciate all the support. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.